Welcome to the Outdoor Explorer Show.
Today we are going to be showing you some essentials for surviving in the forest with anything you may have. First thing you want to make in a survival situation is a fire.
It'll keep you warm and you can cook food on it.
When you're starting to make a fire, the first thing you want to do is collect sticks. First off, you want to start with small tinder and dry wood. Then you want to slowly get bigger into pencil thickness pieces of sticks. Then you want to get larger and larger until you have enough fuel wood to start your fire. An easy way to start a fire is with steel wool and a 9-volt battery.
The first thing you do is you spread out the steel wool as thin as it can be. Then you put some dry leaves on top of it and you touch the battery to the steel wool. Then you blow on it as so.
Now you have your fire started.
Flint and steel is another method of making a fire. I do not recommend this method if you don't have enough time or if you have trouble starting fires.
Great. The first thing you want to do is get out a knife. The second thing you want to do is have your tinder, which is some dryer lint here, ready to catch a spark. Next you want to strike on the steel quickly and put on some small sticks. Next, you want to pile on bigger sticks until your fire is going. Now you have your fire started.
This method is the easiest for building a fire. You use matches.
Once you strike your match, place it next to your tinder. Then place something dry, like leaves, on top of it, making sure to not smother your fire. Once your fire is started, place small twigs over it and keep adding more and more twigs to it until your fire is started.
If there's a lake or body of water nearby, the way to get food is to fish.
Here's the fish we caught.
Now we can save it for later.
Now that you have your fish, you're going to want to fillet it before you cook it. An important thing to remember is to keep your fish in ice so they don't go bad.
Now there are 4 major cuts in filleting the fish. This is the first one. You cut around the head try to make a straight cut around to the back. Cut 2 is cutting around the back along the fin.
The third cut is down along the back and over the rib cage. So make small little cuts through until you get over the rib cage. Now you just want to cut along here to separate the meat from the body. The fourth and final cut is cutting along the tail until you reach the end. Then you want to flip it over and cut at a 45-degree angle to get the skin off.
Now we're going to do the same 4 cuts again.
fire started, you want to make a flat base at the top to set your pan on. Then you could set your fish in your pan and put your pan on the fire.
You want to make sure you have oil in your pan or else the fish will stick to it. Here's our finished product. The first thing you want to do after building a fire is to create a shelter. This protects you from the weather and other conditions.
To build your shelter, you either want to have a tarp and some rope, or a lot of logs and large sticks near you. The most basic shelter uses rope and a tarp. The first thing you want to do is to find 2 trees that are relatively close to each other. Then you want to suspend your string across both of them and hang your tarp over it. This is the most basic shelter, and it will protect you from the elements if you have nothing else. Once you've hung your string up, you want to put your tarp over it and stake the backside down to the ground so that you're protected from the rain. An easy way to make stakes is by sharpening sticks with your knife. Now that you've finished staking the back of your tarp down, you want to tie strings to the front corners and tie it down to the ground. Once you stake down the front of your tarp, you have a cozy little shelter here. And to protect yourself from the ground and bugs, you can put another tarp under it. Whenever you're out camping or hiking, you should always have a small first aid kit with you. Some things that you should include in your kit are things for major bleeding, minor cuts and scrapes, and some extra things that may come in handy. The first thing in the major bleeding category are a set of rubber gloves. These gloves can prevent you from getting diseases from other people's blood. The second thing is gauze. Gauze can soak up a lot of blood, and this is handy to put on a major cut. Along with the gauze, you should also have some medical tape. This tape can be used to hold the gauze to the person's skin. Another thing you should have are wound closure strips. If you have a large wound, you may want to put these on so that it will close up the wound and bleeding will stop. In the minor cuts and scrapes category, we have some triple antibiotic ointment. This is very handy to prevent infections. Another thing you should have are an alcohol pad. This alcohol pad can be used to clean a cut so that it won't get infected. A Band-Aid can be used to put over this cut to protect it from further damage. Another thing you may want to have are some cotton swabs or cotton balls. These can be used to apply the triple antibiotic ointment or clean up a wound. Extra things you may want to have are ibuprofen and moleskin. Moleskin can be put on hot spots to prevent blisters while you're out hiking. And ibuprofen can be used to lessen headaches and other minor ailments. These are all the things you should have in a small basic first aid kit like this one. I highly recommend carrying this with you at all times.
I hope you have learned something from this video and know how to survive in the wilderness if you've ever gotten lost.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time.